if you go from being not stressed at all or like hardly stressed to like super duper stressed really quickly, you're going from like a 1 to a 10 in a blink of an eye, then you're going to want to keep listening. So if that is the case, then it is highly likely that you would benefit from expanding your window of tolerance. So today, yeah, we're going to talk about what window of tolerance is and why like expanding it is super duper important. And then we're going to end with a little practice together to expand our window of tolerance. So window of tolerance essentially means within that window, we have resilience, right? So within that window, we are calm. We are able to respond rather than react. We are regulated. Could also be considered the ventral vagal state. You've likely heard me talk about the ventral vagal state. And when we are in our window of tolerance, that's the state we are essentially in. Again, grounded, calm, we can think clearly, our prefrontal cortex is online, we're able to respond to situations rather than react to them. Now, when we are outside of our window of tolerance, that's when maybe we find ourselves reacting or maybe we're withdrawn. So there's two ways to be outside of our window of tolerance. There could be hyper arousal, which if you know about fight or flight, that would be the hyper arousal, right? It's feeling really overstimulated, maybe snapping at people, or maybe fleeing a situation due to anxiety. It's that very dysregulated state, the hyperarousal. Alert, you're on like high alert all the time, high anxiety. Hypoarousal would be shut down. That would be like the freeze state. Shut down, withdrawal, feeling numb, depression, all of that would be hypoarousal. So we have our window of tolerance. We all have a certain window of tolerance, right? Some of us have a bigger window of tolerance. Some of us have a smaller window of tolerance. And the goal essentially is to stay within our window of tolerance, to stay within that ventral vagal state. Now, that is not always possible. We're humans living in a very messy world, and we are going to get out of our window of tolerance at times, whether it is in that hyperarousal or that hypoarousal. And everybody's personalities are different. And for you, you may lean more towards, when you're dysregulated, the hyperarousal, right? The fight or flight state. Or you may lean towards, when you are dysregulated, shifting into that hypoarousal, more of the freeze, withdrawn, shut down, depression. Again, we are all different, but those are dysregulated states, right? So we want to be in our window of tolerance, which is our ventral vagal state. And I am right now like combining two different approaches, but they essentially like have the same meaning, right? We can talk through the lens of polyvagal theory, Stephen Porges' work, right? And the window of tolerance, though, is really Dan Siegel's work. So these two different approaches to really explaining the nervous system and nervous system resilience. But essentially, the way that I like to think about it is we have our window of tolerance. That's essentially our ventral vagal state, cool, calm, regulated, like zened out state where we can make clear, rational thought decisions from clarity. And then we have the hyperarousal, which is fight, flight. And then we have the hypoarousal, which is freeze, shut down. Okay. That's how I like to kind of think about this. And so we want to stay in our window of tolerance. And we want to expand our window of tolerance. That's essentially increasing our resilience, right? And that's why we do our nervous system regulation practices. Because when we expand our window of tolerance, it'll take more events, more situations, more intense situations to throw us into dysregulation, whatever end we're finding ourselves in, right? So we have more resilience. Expanding our window of tolerance allows that to happen. And so really important to know that your nervous system regulation practices, and we're going to do one in just a moment. I'm going to keep this short and sweet. Really important to know, I would so much rather you sprinkle these into your day in a way that feels easeful for you than to be like, oh my gosh, I need an hour to do my nervous system regulation practice. Because the truth is, if you have that mentality, that all or nothing, black and white mentality, when it comes to nervous system regulation, you're not going to do it. It's not going to happen. In fact, to have a truly regulated nervous system, we need to let go of the black and white all or nothing mentality. And we need to step into this mentality of everything counts, right? Yes, when it comes to our nervous system regulation practices, but also in so many areas of our life. Let's take exercise for an example. All movement and all length of time count, right? And we want to let go of that rigidity. We want to do the same thing with our nervous system regulation practices. All of these mini practices count. All lengths of time count. Your nervous system feels all of it. And actually, when you're able to show up with that mentality of it all counts, guess what? You're going to actually receive the practice even more, and you're going to create more resilience. You're going to expand your window of tolerance. And so I just wanted to plant that seed for you. And this is all stuff I teach inside my membership, Nourished Beyond the Plate. Nourished Beyond the Plate, yeah, we really get into the mindset and shifting our mindset, because I know how much that impacts our resilience and how much that allows us to expand our window of tolerance. So let's do a practice together right now to expand our window of tolerance. So if you're able to do this practice with me in this very moment, that is amazing and wonderful. And if you need to come back to it later, that's totally cool as well. Always making this work for you. I'm going to roll my chair back a little bit because I want you to kind of get a better look at my seated position. I'm still loving my chair on wheels. All right, so I know that you can't see my feet right now, but my feet are rooted on the floor right now. I'm gonna press my feet, hitting stuff. I'm gonna press my feet into the floor. I'm gonna sit up nice and tall here, all right? And you can place your hands just on your legs if that feels good to you. So your palms can just be down on your legs if that feels supportive. I want you to find some length in your spine. And again, I want you to be able to press your feet into the floor. That's really important for that proprioceptive input. And just for a moment, if your hands are placed down on your thighs, I want you to gently put a little pressure there, not like a crazy amount of pressure, guys, just a little bit. All right, I want you to feel your feet pressing into the earth, your hands gently pressing into your legs. You're seated up nice and tall. You could visualize a string coming up through the crown of your head, creating length through the spine. And maybe close your eyes for a moment. Of course, you can like watch me for a few minutes, but then I'm going to encourage you to really close your eyes and tune into your body inside. All right, so taking a moment here, feeling your feet pressing into the earth, your hands pressing into your legs. You're seated nice and tall, shoulders gently coming back. All right. And I want you to find some soft breath here, okay? Gently drawing a breath in through your nose. You could count to yourself for 4. And I want you to think just like an umbrella opens. I want you to think about expanding through the rib cage, through the sides, right? Front, back. You're expanding, you're opening that umbrella on the inhale. And then on your exhale, the umbrella closes. And if you do not feel like you have access to the middle breathing space, the rib cage area, I want you to just visualize this. We're going to do a few more before I bring in the next piece of this, okay? So you're pressing your feet into the earth. You're pressing your hands into your legs. You're seated nice and tall. Gently draw breath in through your nose, counting to yourself for 4. Think about opening up through the rib cage area, just like that umbrella on the inhale. And then exhale, let that go. So you can also bring your breath into your lower belly and feel the expansion of the lower belly. Sometimes it can be challenging to do both at the same time. So, but what I want you to do is, if you feel like you can expand through the ribcage area, go ahead and do that. If you want to explore expanding through just the lower belly, go ahead and do that. If you want to explore doing both at the same time, you can try that. Okay, so this time, let's go ahead and try to expand through lower belly. And I'm going to add another piece and actually bring you through this practice. Right now, I'm just kind of showing you some different pieces of it. So again, press your feet into the earth, press your hands into your legs. Let's go ahead and draw breath in through the nose. This time, I want you to think about bringing the breath just to the lower belly on that inhale. Lower belly might expand, or maybe you're just visualizing that. And then on your exhale, maybe the lower belly sinks and settles and the breath leaves the body. Let's do that one more time, okay? When you're ready, gently inhale, bring breath in all the way nice and deep into your belly. Maybe the lower belly expands on that inhale. And on the exhale, just let that go, okay? Let that breath leave the body. All right, before I move on to our actual practice, I want to just say a couple things and you get to decide how you want to do this practice. So if the middle breathing space was opening smoothly for you, visualizing that umbrella and then the umbrella closing, I want you to go ahead and do that one. If it felt more easeful to let the lower belly expand and then soften, I want you to do that one. If both felt hard and challenging, like you didn't have access, I want you to just pick one and visualize it, okay? That really builds the mind body connection, and that will eventually lead to you opening up that space and being able to do that, okay? If both felt really easeful, you can play around with it. You can go back and forth between the two. Maybe the first inhale, you're opening through the rib cage area, expanding the umbrella. Exhale, releasing that. And maybe on the next one, it's inhale, expanding the lower belly, exhale, releasing. And or maybe they're both at the same time. So that can be a little more advanced. So really meeting yourself where you're at. What I really care about is that you are either visualizing the breath going to one of those spaces and opening and expanding, or you're choosing, if you have access, you're choosing one of those spaces to bring the breath to open and expand. Okay, so this is really helping with the activation of the diaphragm, the diaphragmatic breathing. It's ensuring we're getting our breath nice and deep. Okay, that's all gonna stimulate the vagus nerve, activate the parasympathetic nervous system, increase our window of tolerance, right? Expand our window of tolerance. I actually like expand better than increase. That language is a little more my flavor. So the other piece to this, so we did grounding, we pressed feet into the earth, we pressed hands into the legs, we brought the breath into the rib cage area or the lower belly. The last piece I'm gonna give you to this is creating a sound on the exhale. We're gonna do a little humming on the exhale, okay? This is from Bee's Breath. And what I really love about the humming on the exhale, we are actually stimulating the vagus nerve when we're doing the humming. And we're also really able to lengthen that exhale when we hum. For many people, I won't say everyone, I never like to blanket coat state, but for most people, when they add that hum, they're able to really elongate that exhale. And the longer we make the exhale, right, the more activation of our parasympathetic nervous system, which is going to come back and help us with expanding that window of tolerance. So there's a lot of pieces here, guys, but I promise you, once you get this practice, it's really easy, like so simple, right? But I did want to break that down for you. So let's go ahead and do this together. So again, come really comfy in your chair. All right, you're seated nice and tall. You can place your hands on your legs if you want. My little puppies right here. And anytime I do my bees breath hum, you like look so fire, like just to see what's going on. So we'll see what happens. So you're seated nice and tall. I want you to close your eyes if that feels okay to you. Maybe start to press your feet into the earth. Press your hands gently into your legs. All right. And I'm going to guide you through this with my voice. All right. When you're ready, go ahead and gently draw breath. We're going to start first without the humming. Okay. And then I'll add that in. Go ahead and gently draw breath in through your nose. I want you to either bring it to the belly or to the rib cage area or the belly, or just visualize filling. And when you're ready, just exhaling, letting the breath go. The umbrella either closes or the belly sinks, or maybe both. Go ahead and do two more just like that. A nice, slow, deep breath in. You could count to yourself as you bring the breath in, either opening that umbrella through the rib cage area or expanding that lower belly or visualizing it. And when you're ready, let that go. Let the umbrella close or the belly sink. Maybe one more. Really filling the body with that breath or visualizing the filling. Exhale, letting that go. On the next one, we're going to bring in the hum, and that's from Bee's Breath. And it's just like this, guys. It's just a hum. Mm. You could take a moment to try that. So you're just pressing your lips together. Mm. You'll feel vibration through the mouth area, maybe in the throat a little bit. That is actually stimulating your vagus nerve. And you're going to hum till you don't want to hum, right? Until it starts to feel like work to hum. And that hum is how you're exhaling, okay? The mouth is closed, so you're exhaling through the nose naturally. So let's go ahead and play around with that. We're gonna do 3 breaths, but this time we're gonna bring in that bee humming, all right? So again, go ahead and find your seat, no rushing in it. Take your time, right? Press your feet gently into the earth, plus press your hands into your thighs. You're seated up nice and tall. When you're ready, gently draw a breath in through your nose. And again, I want you to visualize bringing it to the rib cage area, that umbrella opening on the inhale or the lower belly expanding. Now finding that hum on the exhale. Extending the hum till you're like, okay, I'm done with that, right? Until it just easily feels like enough. And we're going to start again. Inhale, drawing breath in through the nose, choosing where you want to bring your breath, either to the rib cage area, expanding that umbrella, or to the lower belly, expanding, or both if you have access. And then hum on the exhale. Bringing the hum as long as you can. Again, that's extending the exhale. And then we're gonna do another round, bringing breath in through your nose. Again, bring it either to the middle breathing space, let the umbrella open, or the lower belly. And then when you're ready, find that hum. And then taking a moment just for a little grounding, feeling your feet on the earth, feeling the texture beneath your hands. You could, from here, do a few more rounds at your own pace. And again, when you inhale, you're filling either the middle breathing space or the lower. You're feeling either an expansion through the rib cage area, like an opening of an umbrella, or you're expanding the belly outward. And the exhale, the breath leaves the body. You press the lips together, you find that hum, and you elongate it to the point that you're like, okay, that just felt like enough. It was still easeful. And that is a practice I have for you today. That is actually a very powerful practice that's actually bringing in many different elements that support parasympathetic activation that will really help you to expand your window of tolerance. My suggestion would be make this realistic for you. So again, just like I said at the beginning, I would so much rather see you do a few minutes of this every day. So you get up in the morning, you're waiting for your coffee to brew or your tea to steep, and you just take a few moments and you do this exact practice. Maybe you do it for 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes. Again, it doesn't have to be a huge length of time to make a big difference. And the really cool thing is your nervous system will start to crave these practices, and they will become more and more effective the more that you do them. So let's let go of this idea that for something to be effective, that we need to spend tons of time on it, because it's not true at all. So that is the practice I had for you today. And yeah, I'm going to be over here expanding my window of tolerance, increasing my resilience, so I can show up in this world feeling really, really well. So I can go ahead and go and do the things that I love in my life, and I can do them with clarity and focus, and I can have fun. And so I'm going to encourage you to do the same, because it really, really does matter. And so I also want to put a little note out there. My membership, Nourished Beyond the Plate, is going to open up. The doors are going to open back up this fall, likely end of September, early October. So what I do with Nourished Beyond the Plate is I only open the doors a couple times a year, so that I can really work closely with the members inside there. If you like these practices, if you like my teaching style, if you like this idea that, holy smokes, like these practices don't have to take hours, that we can let go of rigidity, that we can let go of that all or nothing mindset, that we can have fun, that we can really heal from the inside out, that holistic wellness really does matter. If you like all of that, you're going to love my membership. So Stay tuned. I'll be sharing more about it, but you can also check out my website. I'll put a link to a little information on the membership rate in the show notes. And as always, just thank you for being here. I love being able to show up and share the things that I'm passionate about. And if it's able to help even one person, then that fills me with so much joy. So have an amazing day.